Are you shocked? Another CVS in downtown San Francisco is closing. There once were 6. It's down to 3. Now it's going to be down to 2. What are the reasoning? What's the reasoning for CVS closing all these stores? Let's get into it. Here we go. I think you know, but here we go anyway, right? Yeah, so at the end of August, we're now mid-September. God, we're even further than mid. The end of August, I think it was August 27th, the Nordstrom in downtown San Francisco closed up. This isn't the opportunity after 30 whatever years or whatever it was. This isn't the opportunity that we were looking for. We're going to need to close this one up, and we're going to need to go somewhere else, anywhere but close to the Tenderloin in San Francisco. That is the commonality here. That is the thread, right? The closer you are to the Tenderloin, downtown San Francisco, it's just a no-go. CVS's location at 601 Mission Street will close by October 23rd, a spokesperson for the company confirmed. Down to 2. Down to 2. Let's take a quick peek. 601 Mission Street. All right, so here's what you need to know. CVS, Tenderloin, Union Square. Union Square is where we had the Nordstrom. That's where half the stores have all left. Anywhere in this proximity right here is just a hard no-go. That's bottom line. Very difficult for businesses to stay open. You've seen Metal Leo make multiple videos of this area. Then you've got kind of the financial district up in here. And, that's where a ton of the buildings are that are just empty. That's because you don't have as many businesses in downtown San Fran. But over here, in this area here, it's the Tenderloin. It's proximity to the Tenderloin, and within blocks from there, yeah. CVS is like, no. Yeah, the closure comes after more than a year. The company shuttered 3 of its downtown locations in 2022. We covered that, leaving only 3 stores remaining in the area. Soon to be 2. This isn't going in the right direction, is it? No, it's not. It's not going this way. It's going this way. All prescriptions at the 601 Mission Street will be transferred to the CVS at 701 Van Ness Avenue, which will close in, a year or 2? Yeah, it's the nearest one. It's called Whack-A-Mole of the CVS because, the homeless drug addicts are basically just robbing these stores blind. Plus, store employees are getting rocked, and there's just, there's no end in sight. This is just what's going on in San Francisco. Meanwhile, the mayor, one of my other podcasts today, the mayor, London Breed, is just all about the defund the police, right? Now they're recruiting at universities in Texas. Yeah, San Francisco police recruiting in Texas. What does that tell you? All right. We don't want to recruit here locally. We don't want any of these Cali kids. That's no good. We need to get some Texans up in here. We need to get some law and order. Texas Rangers? Yeah, right? I mean, clearly they're looking to train, and they're looking to do anything to get some more police officers, because earlier this week, one of my podcasts was the most recent the most recent cadet class at the San Francisco Police Academy. It graduated 6 cops, 6. And these aren't even fully fledged, out in the street. They've still got to go through their apprenticeship, right? They've still got to go through their training, their field training. So that could be, class of 4. Would you like a dinner table for the entire class? Could be a small one. We can get you all around it. You know what I mean? That's where we sit. And that's how bad this has become, because nobody wants to be a cop in San Fran or Seattle or Portland or any of these cities where we've just vilified the cops. And every employee affected by the closure will be offered comparable roles within the company. All right. Yeah, whatever. CVS made the decision to close the store based on, all right, this is what I love. This is where we dig down. This is where we get into it. Based on factors like local market dynamics. What would that be? What would that be? Because there's other areas of San Francisco that are doing quite well. Now you might say, well, Sean, yeah, but people are stealing stuff from everybody everywhere, and the whole city's just a train wreck. It's pretty stratified. If you look at the criminal behavior, if you look at the poop map, yeah, you've got these sections, these big sections, and that's how it is in most cities. You've got some cities that are more than others, but San Francisco is, if you look at the downtown core area, you don't see a lot of tents. They're not there, but the businesses have left because of that whole work from home thing. What's impacting CVS here on 601 Mission Street is its proximity to the Tenderloin. It's just, yeah, this is a no-go because otherwise, this is a viable store. So local market dynamics, love that. What does that mean? Well, I mean, it makes you think, wow, things have really changed, and they have, right? You got a bunch of whacked out drug addicts roaming around the streets, and the Tenderloin is just loaded with them, right? So anywhere in close proximity to that, it's a no-go. You don't want to have a store there. So if you're looking at, you've got 11 stores in San Francisco, and a couple of them are underperforming, shall we say, meaning a large percentage of their profit or whatever profit they might have had is walking out that front door. Then you whack the store. You've still got enough coverage for the city where you're not going to take a terrible hit from a PR standpoint. No, you're going to leave us in a drugstore desert. All right. So you got local market dynamics. It's just not a place where you want to run a store, period. Right. Period. And population shifts, according to Bolt. The Ball. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. All right. And population shifts. The one I love is lack of foot traffic. What does that mean? It must mean there's no sidewalks, because otherwise people would walk down this street and they'd go right to CVS. Lack of foot traffic. You just can't get there. What's happening? What's going on? People aren't living in downtown San Francisco the way they once were. Population shift, meaning the employees in the areas that used to populate these streets. If you look at some of the footage that, again, Metal Leo has, that's a popular YouTube channel. If you look at some of the footage he's got of the downtown core, there's nobody there. That's a population shift, not necessarily of people who live there, but certainly people who work there. And with the whole work from home and how things have gone in San Francisco, that shift back doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. Seattle has had a pretty dramatic shift back. Portland, not as much, but Portland gets thrown under the bus. And I think a lot of what's happened with Portland has to do with that 100 nights of Antifa just pummeling the city. That has left a really, really bad taste in the mouths of business owners, the citizens, the residents, just everybody in that whole ecosystem. Downtown is kind of just this hollowed out core where people don't want to be. Police officers don't want to work there for obvious reasons. I mean, they are routinely down multiple officers, a third of who should be there, if not more than that, routinely down on a daily basis because they don't have enough cops to go around. And the central precinct in Portland covers a big geographic area. It's not just downtown Portland. And so you don't have enough cops, and that kind of creates this whole situation. You don't have enough cops here in San Francisco either. I mean, they're recruiting in Texas, right? And you got these tiny little classes coming out. I'm told that the next class is going to be in San Francisco is going to be more like 25. And it's like, okay, all right. But if you're down 600 cops, which is what makes, so much of this area undesirable for businesses to run. People are just shoplifting willy-nilly. Got homeless people outside doing crazy stuff, smoking drugs. Picture that somebody sent me, a podcast listener sent to me today, and the news story was that the chief of police of San Francisco confronts a dude on the streets just smoking some fetty, just smoking some fentanyl, smoking those blues, and nothing really happened. This is chief of police. That's chief of police. Just, put your pipe away, young man. Put your pipe away. That's illegal. It's illegal. You can't do that here. no repercussions, not, hey, call another cop, because obviously chief of police got better things to do. But just the visuals of chief of police coming up, giving them a little warning, little stern talking to. It's like, I don't know if the podcast is out yet, but in Seattle, in the Ballard area, we had a guy who's mentally unstable. He's known in the Ballard area. It's an old Norwegian fishing community in Seattle, north and northwest of downtown Seattle, not by much, a couple of miles. But he thought it was a mentally challenged individual. Don't know if drugs were involved, probably. But he went into Ballard Commons Park and, took his saw, an old school wood saw, and cut a tree down. Big tree. Diameter like 10 inches. Big. And then proceeded to pull it, drag it down the middle of a street for a couple of blocks. This is in Seattle. Just pulling a tree, dragging it through the streets of Seattle. And what was the response from the city official, the council member? Well, he was going to get a stern talking to. A stern talking to. They were going to talk to him just sternly. Yeah. No repercussions for actions. Not, hey, you know what? You can't do that. Junior, you can't do that. Instead, it's like, don't do that. Don't cut any more trees down. We love our trees in Seattle. Maintaining access to pharmacy services in the communities we serve is an important factor we consider when making store closure decisions. That is outwardly what corporate says, right? That's not what they're thinking. They're thinking, all right, we gotta give a cover for this. So what we're going to diffuse is people who can't get their prescriptions anymore. All right. That's an important thing. People need their medications to stay alive, all those kinds of things. So you got to cover that. But more importantly, you got to close the stores that have public safety is impacted because you got so many nut jobs walking around. That's what's going on. That's why you see so many closures in the downtown cores, because you got all these nut jobs walking around that are whacked out on drugs. Period. You want to call them homeless? That's fine. You need to add homeless drug addict to the vast majority of them. And then you get on the playing field of, oh, okay, well, that's why they're stealing from stores, because, they're not employed and they need money to buy those drugs. So that's what you got. Considerations like store density and proximity of other CVS locations also played a role in the move. All right. Yeah, this store is too big. This store is too small. Does that really matter? This store no longer fits our profile. We can no longer do the renovations we need to this store to make it viable with our current business model. How much crap have we read when in reality it comes down to, yeah, they're stealing too much stuff, and plus it's just not safe for anybody to have a store here, period. I'd love that. I'd love a manager to come right out and just say, yeah, this is not where you want your store to be. Anywhere else but up in here, right? Anywhere else but here. The decision comes on the heels of an exodus of businesses from the area, notably the now shuttered Nordstrom. We're going to take a look at that in a sec. In the San Francisco Central Mall. Well, the San Francisco Central Mall, the Westfield Mall, the owners just basically gave back the keys to the whole mall to the lender. Couldn't make a go of it. You only got half of the businesses there. Half of the spots within that mall are occupied. The other half, just a ghost town. And the ones that are there are being just wrecked by homeless people coming in. And I've talked about human excrement on the elevator multiple times. And for those of you, this is your first time tuning in, thank you. And we talk about human excrement fairly often on this channel because it's a reality in San Francisco. And it's a deterrent. I don't know if you know this, but it's a deterrent to have human excrement on a sidewalk in front of a shop. Who knew? Yeah. Tricky, right? We talk fairly often about playing the dodge the human fecal matter game. Nobody wants to play that game. And in San Francisco Center Mall, the Westfield Mall, you've got an elevator that's had just a lot of people taking number twos in it, like exponential, like 400% increase. That's not good. And that's why these businesses are like, yeah, you put all these things together, all these combination of things together, it's a no-go. So Nordstrom in the San Francisco Center Mall just gutted its showroom following its departure from what was once downtown's lauded Westfield Mall. Yeah, that's what happened. I was reading an account of, at one time, Nordstrom, I think it was like 1985 or some just, when I was in high school, some ancient year, they were talking about $150 spa package you could get, which in today's dollars, like $580 or some damn thing, but it was expensive. This was the place to be. This Westfield Mall, Center Mall, San Francisco Center Mall, that was the place to be. It was Union Square, a destination center to go to, but it's been hollowed out because the city has gone down this super progressive route. And look how that's ended up. Oh, yeah. Union Square? No go. We're not going there. No, thanks. Pass. Hard pass. Got a bunch of lunatics running around. People with swords. I always talk about swords because the homeless always seem to find we should say drug addicts. The drug addicts seem to find weapons that could otherwise be props in a play. It's just, is he using that as a weapon or is he going to practice, play practice? Hard to say. That is a real life samurai sword, though. After the closure of the 601 Mission CVS, there will be 11 remaining CVS stores in San Francisco. Our teams will continue to provide the community with outstanding service at these locations, because you got to say that stuff, because otherwise you're like, oh yeah, this is terrible. We got to get the F out of here. That's a storyline from yesterday in Portland that I read. A couple of small businesses, one, I think 25 and 38 years, couple of different businesses had been, situated in Portland. And they alluded to the fact that the neighborhood is no longer what it once was. And it had changed so drastically that they can't stay in business. And the break-ins seem to be happening at a greater and greater rate. I mean, that's what I'm seeing in many of the communities that I'm following. And the break-ins are becoming more and more. Oops. Oh, I don't want to bang the coffee cup. We got this bad boy up here, right? Democrat? Oh, no. Republican? More reasonable human being. That's what I self-identify as. Am I holding that right? All right. We got that in the merch store along with some other funny stuff. I think one of my other more funny ones is, it's this one, right? It's this one. I mean, if this doesn't just buy a man, eat fish the day, teach man to a lifetime. Joe Biden, our fearless leader. Those are words to live by. I mean, if you can't get behind that, I mean, what are you even doing? Check out our merch. Oh, our merch. So in Portland, they're alluding to the same fact that CVS is alluding to here, which is foot traffic is way down. One of the really interesting comments from Portland yesterday was I can't remember if it was it was like a bakery and a coffee shop. One of the owners said you can no longer tell the difference between the weekend and a weekday, meaning it used to be really busy during the week when a lot of people were around working, whatnot, and the weekend might be a little bit slower, but now you couldn't tell the difference between the two. And that to me was like, okay, because nobody's going there ever. Not nobody, because they've been able to stay in business this long. But then you throw a pandemic into it, and then you throw in this escalation of crime, which is what has happened. That's what has happened. Whether you want to look at the stats and go, yeah, that's what's happened. A lot of, I think the criminal activity that's going on there is underreported or just flat not reported because people realize they're on their own. You'll see the news stories of we're on our own. We got to figure out how to, cover our own rear ends because the police are spread so thin. They can't get to our 911 call. And so that's why, that plays in heavily to why a CVS in downtown San Francisco is telling us that, well, it's a matter of our internal measures, but bottom line is it's not safe. nobody's going there and moving forward. If they have to make a decision on which store they close, you look at the metrics and then you look at proximity to the Tenderloin. There's your sign, right? I mean, it's pretty easy to say, all right, boom, done. So how long will it be before the other 2 CVSs that are in San Francisco close? Yeah. I mean, right? Do they go down to 1? Do they go to none? That's what a lot of these areas are experiencing. Just completely lights out because it's not viable to run a store there. It's just not. Because when you got people coming in and there's, Proposition 47 basically says, if you steal something under $950, it's a misdemeanor. And you don't have enough cops. You're down 600 cops in San Francisco. And you've got police, recruit classes of 6. This isn't going in the right direction. So when does that? We're at 3 CVSs. Now we're at 2. Yeah. Inside of 2 years, I'd take that bet. Thanks so much for being here. That's it for me on this one. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.